What's up, y'all? It's your boy Smacks, and you tapped into the K's No More podcast. We talking everything recovery and everything incarceration. This podcast was brought to you by the Renaissance Ranch in Bluffdale, Utah, a leading men's treatment center in the state. Let's go. If you or anybody you looking for, or you may know that's looking for some help and they want to start their journey, make sure you tap into www.renaissanceranch.com. Today I got a special guest, y'all. My boy Manny.
What up, y'all?
My boy Manny in the building, the co-founder of Level Up IOP.
Let's go.
Manny, what's up, my boy?
What up, brother? How's
Man,
life?
It's been a long time coming, my dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had this slot open up, and I was just like, man, I want to make sure I get my boy in here. Because initially, it was supposed to be later on, but I said, man, I got to get you in. We got to get your story, man. Yeah. So, like you, I'm sure you've already known, right? You know, my podcast, I like to go over the the tools that we've used, right? You know, you being incarcerated, me being incarcerated, the tools that we utilize while being incarcerated to get ourselves out of the trenches, right? To give the listener the tools that they're gonna need, whether they're struggling from addiction, whether they're struggling from incarceration, whether it's a mother, a father, or someone that has a son, right? That's struggling from incarceration. I just kind of like to give them those tools that they're gonna need, man. So Manny, dude, let's hear it. Let's talk about your story, man. Where did Manny start? Let's hear it, Manny.
All right,
where are you from, Manny?
I'm from here. I'm from Salt Lake area.
That's what's up.
I bounced around a little bit, but mostly the Glendale area, west side of Salt Lake. My mom's house is 4 South 9th West, so it was right there in the heart of it.
Okay.
And I pretty much grew up into dysfunction. My mother was 12 years old when she got pregnant with me. She had me at 13 years old. Shortly after that, my mother had 4 more kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, single mother with 5 kids by the age of 21. And it didn't take long for the Division of Child and Family Services, DCFS, to step in and say, hey, we got to take these kids from her.
Man.
So I remember when I was 9 years old, I was leaving school and DCFS was there to pick us up. Now, we initially went to one foster home, which is pretty rare. One foster home taking 5 kids.
Yeah.
Shout out to that family.
Yeah, shout out for sure. That is for sure rare, bro.
Yeah.
I love that, man. So they kept you guys all together.
Initially.
Oh, okay.
I'm 9 years old, so I kind of know what's going on. So I immediately start pushing back. I immediately start cussing at the family. You're not my mom. You're not my dad. Breaking things. So it didn't take long for them to say, look, we got to separate this kid from the other ones.
Oh, man. Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
And so that would begin my life being bounced around foster home to foster home to foster home. I ended up in some foster homes in Utah County. And a lot of these foster homes that I'd been in, they weren't super healthy.
Yeah.
I dealt with a lot of abuse, mental, physical, emotional abuse. And I remember when I was 12 years old, I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to figure it out on my own. I'm going to go back to Salt Lake. I was living in Lehigh at the time. And for those that don't know Utah, Salt Lake and Lehigh, they're kind of by each other, but they're not right next to each other. So I stole a bike from the bike rack, rode it up to Rebel Road, and then rode it all the way back to Salt Lake. It took me all day.
Oh, you went down to the trenches?
Yep.
Went down there to where the thick of it.
Yeah. And so I've always been pretty
12.
good. At 12.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty good with numbers. I've always been pretty good with directions. So I knew about where my grandmother lived, and I remembered her phone number, and I remember calling, and I was like, hey, this is Manuel. I'm looking for my mom, and my mom happened to be there.
Okay.
And so she came, picked me up, and then that began my life on the run as a juvenile delinquent. I remember I'd get picked up for being on the run. I'd get taken to the juvenile detention center, go to a placement, run from there, run back to my mom, get picked up. And then that would turn into group homes, which would turn into secure lockup as a juvenile. And every time that I was out around my mom or around my cousins or anything like that, that's when the drug use came in.
Okay.
That's when the gang activity came in. That's when I started smoking weed. I started drinking alcohol,
So your family members are gang affiliated?
Yeah.
Which a lot of us have families that are gang affiliated, man. I feel like, us being young and coming up with uncles and aunties that are gang affiliated, that influence is naturally there. So if you don't mind me asking, what was there a specific gang? Is it Southsiders, Northsiders?
No, the gang that I was a part of was VLT.
Oh, okay. Town. VLT. That's what's up, bro.
Yeah, it's a West Side gang, older gang.
Okay. Yeah. I think I was locked up with a few fools from VLT, man.
Yeah.
So you're 12 years old. You're now in Salt Lake, right, with your grandma.
Yeah.
And there's the influence in your face.
There's the influence. I'm running the streets. And at that age, love, approval, and respect is huge.
Absolutely.
We're all seeking it. We're all seeking some kind of
Absolutely.
connection, some kind of belonging. And so that's what I did, and I navigated naturally towards my family that was involved with that activity.
Yeah.
And so it didn't take long before, again, more lockup, more lockup, more lockup. When I was 16 years old, I was involved in a drug deal that didn't go the way that it was supposed to, and I ended up shooting my way out of the house.
Okay.
And individual got hit 4 times, twice by me, twice by my co-defendant. And I was on the run for about a month while they were looking for me, and then they picked us up. And
that's 16.
16. And so I went to the judge, and the judge said, you know what, like, your whole life is just running away from placements. There's not a placement I can put you anymore. And so we're just going to certify you as an adult. And then I'd be sent to prison at 17.
Man, so they sent you, what charge did they charge you with?
I ended up pleading everything down to 1 to 15, which is second-degree felony for aggravated assault.
Aggravated assault. So with the weapon, that's what probably made it aggravated for sure. So 17 years old. Now you're facing prison time. Yeah. Now and a lot of listeners don't know, but in the state of Utah, they have what's called indeterminate sentencing. I think Utah is one of 3 states still in the United States and the 50 states that actually practice indeterminate sentencing. So indeterminate sentencing is, like he said, he had a 1 to 15. They give you a 1 to 15. You can either serve the minimum of 1 year or a maximum of 15 years. So you won't even know how much time you're actually spending within that time. So you get incarcerated and they tell you a 1 to 15. So how long, so what does that look like? What does that look like when you come into prison? Let's talk about that.
So I come I get into prison, and I naturally gravitate towards my people, right? That's the gang that I was involved with on the streets. And because when you go into prison, you pick a path. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, I don't know very many people that just can go in there and just do their own thing. Yeah. Not coming from the lifestyle that we come from.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I gravitated to my people and started, the drug use, the fighting, the gang banging, all that stuff.
What year was it in prison? First
2001 when I fished in.
2001. That's a long time ago.
I fished into Gunnison.
Yeah.
And I remember people telling me, "Oh, you're young. You're just gonna get 18 months." And then that didn't happen to me. I didn't even go to the board for 3 years.
Yep.
Board of Pardons sent me a paper, said original hearing, tentative date 3 years from now.
Oh, they didn't even see you yet. No. Because typically you'd go in on a 1 to 15 and go see them after 3 months.
Yep.
Typically, at least when I was out there, you wait 3 months and then you go see them. Dude, so they didn't even want to see you. They wrote you a letter and just said, come back in 3 years and we'll talk about it.
I'm a teenager, and so everything that I knew on the streets, that's gone.
Yeah.
The girlfriend, gone. The family, gone. My family wasn't going to be there for me anyways, because it just, that wasn't how it was.
Yeah.
And so I just went deeper into the gang. I went deeper into the criminal thinking. And I mean, one thing I did get when I got out, I ended up doing a total of 5 years, not including all the jail stuff. So it was a total of almost 7 years. And when I got out, I think the only thing I got out with was my high school diploma.
Yeah. So at that time still, you're young though, you know what I mean? So you're not thinking about, I want to get out and be better, you know what I mean? You're like in survival mode, right. I would think, dog. So luckily you got out with the diploma. Good thing you got out with the diploma. Because I've seen a lot of young guys that go in there and they get stuck in there, catching write-ups, and then they get caught up in the recidivism, right?
Right.
Man, so what year did you get released?
I got out
on that charge.
2008.
Okay, so
I was arrested and went in 2021, and I got out for the first time 2008.
2021 or 2001?
2001.
Okay, you got arrested in 2001.
2001, got out in 2008.
Yeah, 2008. So man, that's a little 7-piece, little 6-7-piece, man. So what did that look like for you when you got out? Did you?
Well, so even before I got out.
Yeah, let's hear it. Bro?
Even before I got out, the older homies that I was around, most of them, they just wanted you to be a crash test dummy. They just wanted you to go out there and make a name for the gang and do this and do that. Now, luckily, I had a big homie, and shout out to him, he's not around anymore, that was like, no, you're not going to do that. Yeah. You're going to go to school, you're going to do these things. And, I mean, we were still doing things that we shouldn't have been doing, but for some reason, he didn't want me to just be a dummy in that. Yeah. And so, I mean, when I got out in 2008, I went to the halfway house because, of course, I didn't have any family support. Yeah. And what happened was I was there for maybe a month and then went on the run.
How did the halfway house look? How did that work out? Because
back then, Fortitude wasn't around.
Yeah.
It was called Fremont, which is now Atherton.
Okay.
And so you had one side of the building was mentally ill offenders and sex offenders. And then you had the side that I was on, which was just people that didn't have addresses and were stabilizing. Okay. There wasn't programming going on there or anything. The plan was you get in there, you get a job, you save money, you get out.
Yep.
That was it.
No type of programming, no type of tools.
Right. And so I get out and I don't have any skills. I don't have a trade or anything like that. So I'm looking for work, and you know, it took me a while, but then I was able to get the first job I ever had was at Jiffy Lube. Shout out to Jiffy Lube for hiring me.
Jiffy, let's go. We actually got a few guys in-house that are in IOP right now that just got a job at Jiffy Lube.
Yeah.
Jiffy Lube.
Shout out
to y'all, man. Real talk.
But it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
And I got this real deep embedded codependency that I seek out toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. The first relationship that I was able to get into, it was over for me.
And at this whole time, you're actively in addiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actively in addiction, because I got out and a guy that was kind of like an uncle was like, here, I'm going to put you on, here's some drugs, go sell these, bring me back this much money, and then I'll give you more.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that in the halfway house. I'm doing it outside of work and all those things. And it didn't take long for me to just be like, why even go back to the halfway house?
Yeah.
And so I didn't. And then after a month, you know, they picked me up, they took me back to prison. And then I would repeat that cycle for the next 20 years. I get out, I go back in. I get out, I go back in. I get out, I go back in. I get out, I kick it with my homeboys, and then go back in. And I dealt with a lot of back and forth. So with my gang, it was like, well, they'll love me 1 minute, and then they hate me the next minute. And then they love me the next 1 minute, and then they hate me the next. And so, I mean, I would continue to do this for years and years. I mean, I'm talking about 20 years in and out, in and out. And then in 2017, my daughter was born.
Yeah.
Serenity Truth Lopez. She is the most amazing, smart, brilliant, stubborn little girl I've ever met in my whole life.
Absolutely.
And this little girl, she changed something in me.
Yeah, she's beautiful, man.
Thank you. When I held her for the first time, I remember looking at her and thinking, like, this is everything I've been looking for my whole life. This is pure connection. This is family. Everything I look for in the drugs, everything I look for in the toxic relationships, everything I look for in the gang, it was there.
Yeah.
And I made this promise to her, like, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to do everything that I can so that you don't have to go through what I went through. And I meant every single word that I said in that moment.
Yeah.
But I still went out to the car and then started getting high again.
Yeah, bro.
And shortly after that, I went back to prison. Now for me, I think this is really, really where the change started to happen. It took a long time for me to get to where I'm at right now, but I can really say that the initial change started there when I was really like, okay, I'm gonna start doing something for me. I'm gonna start doing something for my family.
While incarcerated?
While incarcerated.
After having your daughter?
Yep. I went back, and it was probably like my 7th or 8th time back.
Yeah.
At that time. And I hit the yard, Baker Block. It's the old prison, and it's STG, which means gangs, severe threat group.
Yep.
And so all the gangs are on the yard. I go see my homeboys. And now normally how our gangs are out here is if you're in good standings and you want to go be a family man, you want to go be a man of God, usually your gang will give you that blessing.
Yep, if you're solid, yep.
Right. And I feel like I was at that point. I'd put in so much work and so much time. And I approached them with that, and they didn't want to give me that. So my gang there was a big shift going on at that time.
I think one of the older homies was in there for a long time too. Is it not Tony? He passed away. He died in a car fire. Gino, yeah.
So when I said
Gino Montoya.
When I said one of my homies,
so did you holler at Gino? Is that who you were talking to?
No.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't on that yard at the time.
Okay.
He might have been out at that time. So when I was saying like the one guy that guided me and said, "Don't be a dummy,"
yeah,
that was Gino.
Oh, I figured that's why.
Yeah,
that's why
that was like my dad in there. He raised me.
Yeah, Gino. I did a lot of years with Gino, man. He was a good dude.
Good dude.
Yep.
And I mean, his death. It hits me different than some other people's.
Yeah.
Just because of our relationship. Because he was one when I started working in recovery. I was working at Papillon at the time. Shout out to Papillon for giving me my chance in the game. When I was working there and he was struggling with addiction, I just kept grinding and be like, okay, one day when I get a chance, I'm going to help pull him into recovery.
Absolutely.
And it just didn't happen.
Yeah, man. That tragic death was just horrible, bro.
Yeah. In a car lit on fire.
I'm sure there was a lot more that went on with that. The way they made it seem, it was like a cut and close case, dog. It's like, bro, come on, you got a body in a car on fire, bro.
It don't work like that.
Yeah, it's there. And being that who he was, with incarceration and all the years he did, there wasn't no more. They just case closed.
Yeah, he's a big dog.
Which is like horrible, bro. So you go to your gang.
I think they got the guy actually.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they got the guy, and I think he's in prison for it.
That's
he's
good.
Probably still fighting it, but
that's good, man. That was horrible. He had kids. He had a wife, man.
Yeah,
he had family, bro. So you go to your gang, and so what exactly are you going to your gang to achieve?
I was going to leave the gang to go
honorable
be a father.
discharge. You want to get honorable discharge.
I want to go be a father. I want to go raise my daughter, and I was told no, get with the program.
Yeah.
And even before this happened, I was in prison for weeks before this meeting even happened.
Yeah.
On the tier with them, having this conversation. And then we had to take it to the guy who had the keys on the yard at the time. Yep. He was on A East, which is, they're right next to each other. So if you're in the main yard, the yard to A East is right there. So you could talk through the fence.
And so for the listeners, so a lot of people don't understand the structure of prison. People think they're just incarcerated. You got these gang members incarcerated. They're just sitting there doing time. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of structure within the gangs in being incarcerated. And a lot of things don't move or don't happen if you don't got the right approval. So that's what Manny's explaining, man, that he's working to possibly get what's called in the gang world also honorable discharge, where you're able to walk away from the gang and the gang giving you their blessing to be a better man, to go be a father, or whatever the case is. So you go to them, and then
I go to them. I'm on the yard, and they have the AB rec, right, with the Norteños and the Southsiders, and only one can come out on one day, and the other ones come out on the next day.
Let's go into that a little bit too, dog. You know what I mean? Because that's something that they started too when I was in there too. The A and B rec, separating the Norteños and the Southsiders.
Yeah,
the Sureños and the Norteños. So they split the recs in order for them to not be let out at the same time on rec time, because when they let them out at the same time, they're killing each other, they're stabbing each other, they're just on site. It's green light, man. So A and B rec.
And so, I mean, this is a part of my story. I usually don't go into this much detail on the gang stuff.
Yeah, let's run it, dog. K's no more, baby.
But at that time, my gang was starting to fall under the umbrella of the Southsiders.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a big reason why when I approached my gang and said, hey, I want to go be a family man, they're like, no, you got to get with the program. I feel like they felt like they had something to prove. They're under their umbrella. They needed to make it a statement. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm making a decision for myself and for my family for once in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to be a family man.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And can we cuss on air?
Yeah, cuss, bro.
And so I was like, I'm going to be a family man. They say, fuck your family.
Yeah.
Just like that. And now that's something that I couldn't accept. And then the dude next to me, who's supposed to be my homeboy, and then there's another dude next to me. So there's two people on the yard with me from my gang. And the one next to me says, do you have a problem with anything that he just said? Well, yeah, I have a problem with something he just said. You know what I mean? I've held that baby girl. It's pure innocence. You know what I mean?
And I'm sure she was on your mind, bro, since you held her and it
was like
sitting in your cell,
her.
bro. Absolutely, dog.
And so what I did was I forced their hand on the main yard, and I punched the dude right next to me.
Yeah.
Once he said, you have a problem with that. Yeah.
Boop.
And then I just surrendered, bro.
Yeah.
And then I just gave in because I knew what was coming next.
And when you say surrender, they just got off on you?
I just let them do what they did, and they stomped me out.
Yeah.
And this is the worst beating I've ever taken in my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm talking like to the point when I was knocked out on the ground, out cold, they were kneeing me in the head still.
Yeah, they were trying to kill you, dog.
And other gangs on the yard stepped up
and started
and said, that's enough.
Yeah.
He's had enough.
Man.
And shout out to everybody and every relationship that I made throughout my whole prison time that got to that point for them to step up and say, that's enough.
Man, that's such a bro.
Well, and you know the tension.
Absolutely.
When you go out to the yard, everybody already knows there's a situation, there's something going
about
on.
To pop
you
off.
feel it in the air.
Yeah.
Like, dang. Like,
absolutely. It's about to go down.
And I was vocal like I'm getting out of the gang.
Yeah.
And so everybody knew like, dang, man, he's going out there. And here's what you see more often than not is you see when a person gets out of the gang, they go and they hit the button and let the cops know they can't live there anymore because they're not in that gang anymore. And then the cops will come, roll them up, and take them away. But that wasn't something that I was willing to do. And then on top of that, you know, you see a lot of a person will quit banging this month, and then 6 months later they get around their homies and they're banging again. And I wasn't going to be a yo-yo and back and forth.
No, and see, that's important. That's important, bro, for the listener, dog, because we got a lot of young listeners, right? We got a lot of young people tapping in, and they glamorize that gangster life, that I'm a gangbanger, I'm throwing up my hood, I got my gun. It's glamorized, right? But they don't even realize, as soon as you hit the yard, it's a big difference.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, if you out there really living that life, you out there really slanging that iron and throwing them bullets, you're eventually going to end up in prison, and you're going to end up around your homies, right?
Right.
And if you guys listen close, this is the worst beating he's ever took from his own homies. Man, bro. I've never heard this story from you, dog, so it's kind of blowing my mind, dog.
It's so what happens next is I get up, and some of the other gangs come to me, and they take their shirts off, and they're like, they're helping me wipe my face off, and I'm walking laps with some of the other hoods.
You taking me right there, dog. What section was it? Was it Oakers?
I was on Baker Block.
Oh, you was on Baker, so it was inside.
Yep, I was second tier Baker Block.
Did it happen inside or outside?
It happened on the main yard.
Oh, on Big Yard.
On Big Yard.
Yeah, Big Yard.
So all the Southsiders were in the mini yard because it was their day. Right, and then everybody else was in the big yard.
So they all watching that too.
Everybody's watching it. All the gangs were on the yard watching it.
Man, bro.
I stayed out an extra hour so that the dudes that jumped me could go back in.
So they didn't get rolled out.
And then, and I remember walking the yard, and as much physical pain that I was in at that time, emotionally and spiritually, I'd never felt more freedom.
Come a little bit closer. There you go. You good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Emotionally, and spiritually, I'd never felt more freedom after that.
Yeah.
I went back in. It wasn't long. Count comes through. I'm lumped up, so there's no getting through.
Yeah, there's no hiding. The cops are going to see that.
They pull me out, and then they take me away. And I didn't do much time. I was only on a parole violation that time.
Yeah.
So I'd end up getting out a few months later. And, I thought my life was going to get miraculously better. I take this part of my life that was so destructive, which was the gang activity, away. I'm going to be good. Well, it didn't work out like that for me. Because although I had that, what I realized later on was like that gang was a crutch that I leaned on when I was going through something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could go to it. I could run to it. At least I wasn't by myself. And now I'm by myself, and I got to figure it out. And I don't have that crutch anymore. But what I do have is my destructive thinking, my destructive behavior.
Yep.
I'm still addicted to drugs. I still have this need to be in codependent relationships, where either I'm needed by somebody or I need somebody to need me.
Yeah, bro.
That super codependent, destructive cycle always ends in a crash. I don't know one single person who can navigate that without it crashing and burning eventually.
Absolutely.
So it didn't take me long before I returned right back to prison.
Yeah.
And then I'd get out and return back to prison.
So when you got out and went back, what was the energy with the hood then, their gang then, after you're already known to what they would say is a dropout, right? That's what they would call it.
Right.
So you drop out, right, and you come back in. Now, is it still, are they on site? Are they like, man, whatever, homie, you know what I mean? Leaving you alone, or what does that look like?
It depends on which homies I was around.
Okay.
And it's always like that, but like
Absolutely.
The ones that were leaning more towards like the umbrella that they were under now, they're still showing me love from what's up, Manny, all that. But they had to distance themselves because of where they were at in their path on their gang, life.
Yeah.
And but the other ones I still ended up around some of my homeboys.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a part of it anymore.
Yeah.
I stayed out of it. It wasn't my thing. But I would still go back to prison, in and out.
Man,
I'd get out.
Sucks, bro.
Now, again, one thing is like I'd made a lot of these good relationships because I'd been on the yard. Again, you're talking a kid that went in at 17.
Yeah.
Now in his 30s, I knew all of these dudes. I knew all of the lifers. I knew everybody that was anybody in there. I'd been around them. I've been through all the sections. I've been to the Oakers. I've been to Wasatch. I've been to Promontory. Never made it to Lone Peak, but hey.
Yeah.
Gunnison, different county jails. Like that was my life.
Yeah, you went through the whole raised me. Gamut.
Utah Department of Corrections raised me.
Yeah,
and,
I can see that, dog.
And then in 2019, I met the woman that I go on to marry.
Yeah,
and I met her in a motel room. A friend of mine that had held on to all my stuff when I went back to prison was at this motel with her, and I went to get all my stuff, and I met this woman. She's selling drugs
Yep.
And I was immediately attracted to her, and not just because she was selling drugs. I mean, that was a plus too for me at that time, but mostly because she was damaged just like me.
Yep.
Like I could just see it. You know your people. When you see your people, you know your people.
Yeah.
And my codependency was so extreme. I was in the halfway house up in Ogden. It's called Nuke at that time. My codependency was so extreme that I would go on the run just to spend one night with her, knowing the next day I was going back to prison.
Man. And when you say codependency on the drugs, but also codependency on just a toxic relationship, bro.
More than the drugs.
More the relationship.
I was codependent, more independent, more on the relationships.
Yeah.
Love, approval, and respect. And you can see it throughout my whole life.
And she gave you those feelings though?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. You can see the codependency throughout my whole life, as I'm always trying to latch onto something.
Yeah.
Accept me. I mean, and I'll go back a little bit further to my childhood, like foster homes and then failed adoptions.
Yeah, bro.
To where I was a Wednesday's child. For those of you that don't know what a Wednesday's child is, back then they would advertise foster kids on the news, on the evening news, as like, do you remember the commercials where there's like the dog and he's shaking in the cage and there's the music in the background.
Yeah, donate.
Donate, save this. Like it was like that, but for kids.
Really?
And so they had me on there, and unfortunately for me, or fortunately, based off where my life is now, that never happened for me. I never got picked.
Yeah.
And so that was a core belief that would stick with me throughout my life. Like,
and they aired it on Wednesdays. Is that why it's called Wednesday Child?
It's Wednesday's Child.
Man.
Yeah. I even got the footage still.
Wow.
I've done a couple videos with it, and
That's crazy,
when I go and do my
bro.
public speaking, sometimes I'll bring that up, and then on my slideshows I'll play that part. So yeah, my codependency was extreme. I met this woman that I would go on to marry. My wife, her name is Misty. And I'd spend one night with her, knowing I was going back to prison the next day. They'd come, they'd show up, they'd draw their guns on me, time to go back, and I'd go back. And something was different about this woman, where all these other relationships I'd been in, I'd go back, they're gone. There was somebody else.
Yeah.
That was it. It was just these girls I met in the game. But she stuck with me. She started writing me, putting money on my books, accepting my phone calls, all those things. And now she's really speaking my love language.
Yeah.
And I did a parole violation on that when I got out 4 months later, and she was there to pick me up.
Wow.
I was supposed to go to Odyssey House at that time. Shout out to Odyssey House of Utah for everything that they do over there.
Odyssey House.
And instead, we went to Ep.5 and manipulated my parole officer to allow me to get away from going there and to be able to go to this house. This address we didn't even live there. That I was saying that I was staying at, but that was a whole lie.
Just to use the address.
So what would happen next was the next 17 months running and gunning.
Yeah.
From Salt Lake to Utah County to up to Logan, out to Tooele, just running and gunning, selling drugs, using a whole bunch of fraudulent behavior. And it would end in a big crash and burn for me. Our relationship was one that we would run away from each other. We'd run to each other. We would abuse each other. Our understanding of love was, if you don't abuse me or allow me to abuse you, then that means you don't love me.
Yeah.
And you can see that throughout my story based off of the relationships that I've had with my family, with the gang, with that's the
what
communication
you thought
of love
was. Yep.
And so, of course, there's no way we're not going to communicate love to each other. So it was super abusive. It was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive, constantly on both sides.
Absolutely.
So on one of these times that we were running away from each other or running back to each other, I was in a stolen vehicle driving on the wrong side of the road, trying to pull into a liquor store in Murray in front of the hospital on State Street and Vine Street, and missed the turn, went through the intersection, T-boned a van,
Man.
and somebody pulled over to help. And this is how extreme I get, is somebody pulled over to help, and I jumped out of the stolen vehicle. I brushed this gentleman aside. I jumped in his vehicle and I tried to steal his vehicle to get away.
Yep.
Created this big, huge, dangerous situation. Luckily for everybody involved, he had taken the keys out of the ignition.
Yeah.
I passed out in his vehicle. I woke up in the hospital. I passed out again, and I woke up in the backseat of my parole officer's vehicle being driven back to prison for the 11th time. And it's crazy because for me, that's where I had my aha moment. That's where I had my divine intervention.
Sitting in the back of the parole car?
On the way back to prison for the 11th time.
Yep.
That's where, my higher power, who I choose to refer to as God, stepped into my life and gave me one of those backhands that said, enough is enough.
Yep.
Who do you got to blame now, boy?
Yep.
And it was nobody. Nobody. I couldn't blame my mom for not being a mother. I couldn't blame my father for never knowing the guy. I couldn't blame the foster care system, the juvenile detention centers. I couldn't blame the adult probation and parole agents anymore. I couldn't blame the toxic relationships.
Yep.
I couldn't blame anybody anymore. And look, I was the guy after I had my daughter. When I would get out, I ended up leaving my daughter with her grandmother, and she raised her. Till she was 3 or 4 years old, and so at that time she's 3 years old when I'm going back. And I was the type of father that would show up with arms full of gifts every time I came up, and couldn't stay longer than an hour or two with her because I was filled with so much guilt, so much shame, so much embarrassment that I would run right back to the streets, right back to the drugs, right back to the toxic relationships because I couldn't stay there because I knew I was doing wrong.
Absolutely.
I knew I was a deadbeat. I knew I was a failure. And so when I ended up back in prison after the crash, she's 3 years old. Of course, I'd been there so many times that her grandmother's number is already approved on the list. So I call her. And she's starting to talk at this time, guys. And so she's asking me, Daddy, where are you?
Man.
And it really dawned on me in that moment how selfish I really was because, again, I had a choice and I had chosen wrong over
time and time again.
And over. I realized in that moment I set the example for the type of man that she's going to allow into her life.
Absolutely.
And if I'm in and out of prison, in the streets, involved in drug activity, gang activity, then she's probably going to end up with somebody like that.
Absolutely.
The likelihood of her ending up with somebody like that is very high. And I wasn't willing to allow it to go another generation.
Absolutely not, bro. Man, dog, like I remember being in prison too, bro. And like you said, the system raised you, bro. Like the system, as far as I'm from a different state, so but being in prison and having my 6-month-old daughter when I did my 7 years in my hands, bro, and just carrying her and just thinking, man, bro, one day she's gonna be with somebody, and it can't be someone like this, bro. Man, so I feel that, bro. That gave me the chills, dog.
For over 20 years, Renaissance Ranch has been on the front lines,
battling the darkness and disease of addiction.
It has been our mission and passion
to help men reclaim themselves and remember who they truly are.
Fathers,
husbands,
friends,
leaders,
sons,
and brothers. The road has been paved and the recovery journey is real.
We've all experienced the journey from addiction and darkness back to the light of recovery.
We do it together.
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 Let us fight with you and help you find yourself again. We are the Brotherhood of Renaissance Ranch.
We are the Brotherhood of Renaissance Ranch.
We are the Brotherhood of Renaissance Ranch. Join the fight today.
Yeah, and so what would happen was I didn't know how much time I was going to get. I couldn't control that. But I could control what I was going to do with my time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got myself into the Conquest program. Shout out to the Conquest program. It's called something now. It's called Achieve now.
Achieve now.
But shout out to them and everything that they did to help me there. And I started running the most honest program I've ever ran in my life at that time, which was for about a month. And then I opened a store.
Oh, inside, yeah.
Yeah, and then for those that don't know what a store is, I get a commissary bag and I'll give you something and then charge you extra. And so next week you'll pay me 2 of something or 3 of something, depending on how many you get from me. But it's a racket. It's how we make money in there. And it's against the rules. You're not supposed to do it. And somebody didn't pay
especially
me
in Conquest.
Right. Somebody didn't pay me a jar of coffee that they owed me, and it got physical, and I punched this dude. And I remember right when I punched this dude, I just surrendered. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like in the backseat of my parole officer's vehicle again.
That same feeling.
Like, man, I did it to myself again. And so get this. They roll me up. They take me over to Baker Block. This is gang unit at the time. And I'm not in a gang anymore.
Man.
So I'm on the yard with these dudes and I'm by myself. Now, again, luckily for me, like I'd built these relationships with these other gangs, and so they have my back. They're not going to let anything happen to me, but they're also not going to stop individuals from doing stuff that they need to do on their gang side.
Yeah.
Right? And so I was approached by some dudes who are like, you got to go. And I'm like, I'm not going like that. Like, I'm not going to go hit the
they're
button.
trying to get you to check in.
Yeah, they're trying to
get
me
a lot of guys, some people don't understand what check-in is. They're trying to get my boy to go and push the button and tell the officers that he doesn't feel safe for his life. He needs to be moved to a different section. And incarceration and in prison, that's a big no-no.
It's a big no-no. And it also, they're doing it because it boosts their status as well.
Yeah,
It boosts their gangster.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
To come and tell you to check in.
And so I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't have a problem going somewhere else because this isn't my crowd anymore anyways, but I'm not going to do it like that.
Not like that.
And
you hold yourself to standards even though, bro.
Right. And so, and again, you start feeling the tension in the section, and it always gets back to the officers. And so I ended up getting put on TRO, which is they lock you down for 3 days. And
23-1.
Yep. And what you have to do, and what they're asking me is, they're like, Manny, you have to put safety concerns on these individuals or we can't move you. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going out like that. I've come this far. Man. I didn't get jumped out of my gang on this same yard that I'm on right now just to do this later on.
Yeah. And see, what's funny is the cops know what they're doing, too.
Right.
They know what they're doing. They know the jacket.
Right.
So the perceived jacket, the jacket is like your background. They know the background that they're putting on you, dog.
Right.
And they're telling you, hey, man, you got to write this, make it official. Man, that's crazy.
And so I stay in that cell for 3 days on TRO, and on the third day they got to let me out.
Yeah.
And this whole time, like every day that the same people are coming to me, they're like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Every time they pull me out, hey, do you want to put a safety on these guys? I'm like, no. Then they put me back in the cell. And I'm like, I'm not putting a safety on.
They were keeping you in TRO, 23-hour lockdown every day until you signed something. Really?
Yep.
Man.
So on 3 days, they can't keep you anymore without a reason. And so they had to let me out. And I feel like me not checking in like that was a reason for these dudes to be like, we're good.
Yeah, we're just gonna let it ride.
Yeah, you didn't check in, and so right. And I hit the yard and I went and talked to their big homie, and I'm like, look, this is the way that I got out of my gang. Like, and so they gave me that pass. But still tensions are high, and you don't know if these dudes are going to get you. And
Absolutely.
So on one of these days, I'm like, man, this is the day they're going to move on me. I feel it.
Absolutely.
I feel it. Even though they said that, like, that's just some sneaky stuff that happens.
That's what they do. They'll typically make you feel good, and next thing you know, you over there eating, warming your noodles up.
And then pop. Yep. And so, and everybody's carrying shanks. Everybody's carrying knives on there.
Every single person.
I remember I was just in Conquest where we're doing programming and everything. And
everybody's by the book.
And now I'm over here, and I'm in
Back in the
gangland
jungle.
danger zone.
Yep.
And on this day that I thought that they were going to book me, somebody else rolled on the tier that they really wanted.
Oh, really?
And they stabbed the shit out of this dude.
Yeah.
And they booked him.
What year was that?
This was 2001.
Oh, okay. That was before.
2000.
That was before I got there.
It was 2020.
Yeah. Oh,
Actually,
2020?
2020.
Oh, okay. So that was, I was out. I got out 2019. So they ended up booking him on Baker?
Booking him. Baker Block, second tier. And so they rack us in, and I'm in my cell, and I drop down to my knees.
Man.
And I say this prayer that I've said many times before, which is, Lord, please protect me. You know.
Man, I feel that, Oos.
I was like, if you can get me back to Conquest, back to the program, I'll take it serious. And I've said this prayer many times.
Yeah.
And I swear, like that.
Man.
My name's called over the speaker.
See how God answers prayers,
Lopez,
bro.
roll up. And shout out to Lieutenant Gaiman. He's over Orange Street right now, the female halfway house. I just was in a meeting with him today.
Yeah.
But this is the individual that got me back over there. And we'll get more into that as we go on.
You're good.
I go back to Conquest, and now I start running the most honest program I've ever ran in my life at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it by the book, right? I mean, there were some slips with drugs when they came on and that I shouldn't have done, and I own that. But as for like self-development, I really started working on myself.
Yeah.
Any book that I could get my hands on that had anything to do with self-development, I read it. My favorite book is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
It's a great book.
I read this book and started practicing these habits. Begin with the end in mind. Think win-win. Seek first to understand rather than to be understood.
Yep.
And things started shifting around me. The section I was in, there was a lot of gang members. It was high profile, and I got into a peer leader position, and I learned something good about myself, in which I'm a leader, and I lead in a good direction. And when I do that, other people become leaders as well.
Love that.
What would happen next was I'd fight my case for 18 months.
The new case?
The new case for crashing the vehicle.
Yep, crashing the vehicle.
Attempted carjacking.
Yep, attempted carjacking.
So I ended up pleading it to a 2nd-degree felony and a 3rd-degree felony. Failure to stop at the command of an officer and possession of a stolen vehicle. Because I fought it for so long, I got this smoking deal.
Yeah.
Right? A deal I probably shouldn't have got. The prosecutor wanted nothing but for me to be forthwith to prison because I'm already in prison. I've always been in prison.
Yep.
Just let's make this easy and do that. Now, I had been grinding in Conquest, getting every certificate, taking every class I could. And when I went to the judge for sentencing, I got to present myself to the judge as a changed man. And I let him know, Your Honor, I have programmed. And every certificate and every class that I could do, I've completed.
Fully exhausted.
So if all you want to give me is time, that's all you're going to get. Shout out to Judge Barry Lawrence. This gentleman looked at me very intently for a good 20 seconds that felt like 20 minutes. And he said, you know what? You're right. All I can give you is time. And all you've done your whole life is time. And time has not served you well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sentence you to prison. And my heart sank. And he said, but I'm going to suspend the sentence. And I looked up at this man. He said, I'm going to give you 36 months probation. And you're going to go to a drug program. And you're going to do just as well there as you did here. Because if you come before me for anything, I'm going to give you every single day of your sentence. And again, like that, my life changed. Because somebody I least expected to see anything in me, to believe in me, was willing to give me a chance.
Bought into you.
When I didn't deserve it. The prosecutor was furious.
I bet.
And
they usually are. They want you.
He had taken the power out of the Board of Pardons' hands.
Yep.
They
don't like that.
They couldn't do anything on me except for see me for a parole violation. Now, 18 months, I'm way over the matrix on a parole violation. I think the max is 6 to 9 months on a parole violation. My life moved fast after that. I went to the Board of Pardons. 2 weeks later, I got out 3 weeks after that. Now, an amazing part of my journey is the woman that I go on to marry, my wife, Misty, had made a decision that she was done.
Yep.
She was done with the street life. She was done with all of that. And she got herself into, first she went to Odyssey House and realized that she has too much male trauma to go to a co-ed program.
Yeah.
And so asked her judge to send her to House of Hope, which is an all-women's program. Shout out to House of Hope and everything you guys do over there. And she started working on herself. And she was coming out of residential when I was getting paroled to go to treatment. And it just happened to be, I went to Odyssey House.
Yeah.
I tried to go to a different program. I tried to go to another program. I tried to go to Epic because you could smoke and vape and do all that stuff. I tried to go for the perks instead of going for the real reason I should be going there for. It's for self-development, for recovery.
And a lot of people do that. A lot of guys do that. A lot of intake guys that I get coming in, they're like, "Can we keep doing our Suboxones, our mat drugs?" I'm like, "Bro, dog, you're gonna have to cold turkey it, man."
Right?
So
like, do you want?
Don't
this
try
or
to
not?
manipulate it.
Yeah.
You want a better life. You cannot become the highest version of yourself entertaining the lower version of yourself.
Exactly.
Period.
And so there was a COVID outbreak on the program that I was trying to go to, and the board ended up sending me to Odyssey House. And I got into Odyssey House. And you know what? I was just so grateful to my higher power, to God, for letting me get out from that situation that I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to stay here. I could have waited till the COVID outbreak was done and then went to that other program, but I didn't. And I started doing some hard work. I started working on myself. And my wife, she wasn't my wife at the time, but she came pick me up from prison and took me there. And she had these really cool things I wasn't familiar with at the time called boundaries.
Love that, bro.
She's like, look, like we're super toxic. We used to beat the crap out of each other, and we're not going to do that anymore. I have my boys now, and I pick up your daughter now, and they will not see that.
Nope.
And I respected her for that. And for once in my life, I made a commitment that I'm going to do something from beginning to end the way that I'm supposed to, the way that it's mapped out to be done. And I went in there and I ran an honest program.
Love that, bro.
Which meant that I had to hold people accountable. And now I'm from this city. I'm from Salt Lake. So the people coming in and out of the streets to the program, the people coming out of the jails, out of the prisons, I know these people.
Yep.
And not everybody goes into treatment committed. A lot of people still go in trying to manipulate and bring this in and that in and trying to get in a relationship and all that stuff. And I set this boundary with everybody that said, if you're going to do those things, don't do them around me.
Yep.
And of course they tested me.
Really? I was a peer leader too, dog, and I would tell them too, homie, don't be crashing out in front of me, bro.
Right. Because I'm going to do what I got to do because I have a goal. And I'm going to achieve that goal for once in my life. And when they crossed that boundary and put me in that situation, you know, I pulled out that piece of paper and wrote my I feel statements.
Yep.
And I held them accountable. And they didn't like that.
Yep.
And I walked by myself in that program for months. And I remember something miraculous happened. is I learned that loneliness and isolation is when a caterpillar gets its wings.
Absolutely. They metamorphosize.
And for those that don't know what metamorphosis is, that's the process of transformation from an immature form to an adult form in 2 or more stages.
Run that.
Other people that wanted something different started coming around me. Other people that wanted something different started holding other people accountable.
Like attracts like.
And when I completed residential with Odyssey House, it was a clean house.
Love that, dog.
I found importance. I found value in myself. I found value in who I was. And now I had to walk out of there and go out into the big bad world where I was a nobody. And I cried my way out of there. My wife came and picked me up. She's on drug court at this time. Her drug court team is like, you should not be with this guy.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to be with him. And I want to get your guys' blessing so that we're not going behind your guys' back.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like we're like trying to get over.
And they allowed it. They allowed us to move into our apartment together because we were straight up. And so this is one thing I speak about a lot is be honest and be transparent.
Absolutely.
Through and through. Not your best policy should be honesty. Your only policy should be honesty.
Absolutely.
To be true. Because when that happens, you are your authentic self through and through. Rigorous authenticity.
Yep. And you reciprocate that energy, dog. People around you gravitate towards it. When you get around anybody or anything that you want, when you're coming from your heart, which is honesty, it's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Right. And true character shines.
Yep.
Character is commitment to a set of values without compromise. So are you honest, open, willing, caring, responsible? All those wonderful things. Are you able to do those? Integrity.
Absolutely.
A lot of people will say, yo, integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Yep.
And yeah, I love that cliche.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. But for me, it goes a little bit deeper because integrity sounds a lot like a word integrate.
Yep.
And if that's a root word of that, then integrate means to become one.
Absolutely.
And so integrity means to become one with your character.
Yep. Paradigm shift.
Yeah, with being open, honest, responsible, willing, caring, responsible, accountable, grateful, humble, all those things. You are all those things. That's your integrity.
Encompassing. I love that.
I got out. I started working construction cleanup at the airport. She was a server at Buffalo Wild Wings. We were doing okay, but we wanted more. I wanted more.
Absolutely.
And look, when I was walking by myself in that program and everybody had shifted away from me, I wanted to scream at them so loud. Don't you know I just don't want to go back to prison? Don't you know I just want to be a father?
Yep.
Don't you know I just want to be successful? And I finally got it for once in my life. I experienced it. And I wanted to keep that. And so I decided I need to be in recovery and I need to work in recovery. I went to USARA. Shout out to USARA for everything you do over there. And I started to take the training to become a certified peer support specialist.
While incarcerated?
No.
Or already out?
Once I got out of Odyssey House. That was my plan.
Oh, that's right. Odyssey House.
My wife did the same thing.
And the peer support specialist, bro, the way they offer it is such a good thing. I'm a certified peer support specialist too, and a lot of people don't understand this, but there's been a shift in how we approach addiction and incarceration. A lot of times they deal with cops, they deal with parole officers, they deal with therapists, they deal with counselors. They're dealing with all these people who have the education of how to be able to manage someone who's suffering from incarceration or addiction. But there's been a void between the two that is not connected because you don't have someone who's been through addiction, been through incarceration, suffered from the same experiences, but pulled themselves up out of the trenches and became successful. And now we have the invention of the peer support specialist to be able to bridge the gap between the counselors and just to be a peer, bro. Someone's like, hey man, I suffer from addiction too, bro. I could tell you, I could show you how I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Or let's just sit together.
Yeah.
You're going through something, let's just sit together.
And
like,
hold
we don't even
space.
have to say anything.
Nope.
Like, because I already get it. And you know I get it because my vibe is the same as yours.
Absolutely.
We come from the same background. So we became peer support specialists. And the movement of peer support is huge right now.
It's big and it's such
I
a
just had a
strong,
meeting
positive
with
movement.
all the executive teams of the Salt Lake City Police Department to sit on a panel and express like how us as peers in the community can help them reach individuals that they have not been able to reach and cannot reach just because there's such a divide.
Man, I love that. Shout out to Glenn and them boys, Brian
Shout out to
Red.
Glenn Mills, Brian Red.
He called the other day. He actually called yesterday and he was telling me about it. I was like, man, bro, I'm happy, dog. I'm glad that's in motion, bro, because the communities need it.
Right.
To see what it looks like. To see where the tax dollars are going, right?
Right.
To see where the tax dollars for these programs to help people become peer support specialists goes.
Right.
For sure, man.
And they think outside the box. That's what I love about them. And they're leaders. They teach leadership. They raise leaders up.
Absolutely.
And so I became a peer support specialist and started shopping myself around to different programs. I really wanted to work at Odyssey, bro.
Yeah.
Because I did my programming at Odyssey. It just wasn't in the cards for me.
No.
And I got an interview at a program called Papillon Integrated Recovery Center. Shout out to Papillon. And I went for the first interview. It was a good interview.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I got it in the bag, walked out, didn't get a call back.
Yeah.
I had learned this skill called advocating for myself. And so I picked up the phone, I called back, and they gave me a second interview. And man, I killed that interview, bro. I dunked on them in that interview.
That's how you do it.
I walked out thinking I got the job and didn't get a call back.
Yep.
And now this was a real pivotal fork in the road for me where I could have went either way. I could have been like, I've tried. I gave it my all.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Back to what I know.
Instead, I said, Manny, you're going to bet on yourself one more time.
Absolutely.
And I gave him a call, and I got the third interview, and I went in there, and I alley-oop dunked on him.
Yep.
I smashed it.
Yep.
And they gave me the job. I became a house manager for their male sober living. And then I was able to bring my wife on as the female house manager for the sober livings.
Love that, dog.
And so now we're in a hoopty Dodge Charger 2009. One of the fenders is discolored,
Yeah.
right? And we're mobbing around to these different sober livings, helping people, UAing people, just inspiring our people.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm like, I want more.
Yep.
And so
I want to give more.
And so, And so we got ourselves back into school, and we started working on our bachelor's degree in human services with a concentration in addiction.
Love that, bro.
That gave us the ability to get on the clinical team at Papillon and start doing individual sessions with people and teaching groups. So we're teaching 4 groups a week and 10 individual sessions a week. It's crazy, bro, because so much has happened in such a short time.
And that's how it happens, dog. You know, I talked about this before. Once you have that paradigm shift of strictly positivity, I'm going to do the best to become the best version of myself and continue to live that best version of myself. Everything, it starts coming.
Right.
God opens up the doors and starts reciprocating all this energy that you're putting out into the universe, bro. And
I remember when I was in prison, somebody said, what would happen if you just became 1% better each day? In 90 days, I'd be 90% better.
Absolutely, bro.
In 1 year, I'd be 365% better. But what if on some days I'm not only 1% better? Some days I'm 5% better.
Yep.
Other days I'm 10% better.
Yep.
And what if it compounds?
Love that.
And I'm proof, and you're proof of what that looks like.
Absolutely.
And so I say that because I begin my master's degree in social work next month.
That's my boy. Love that, dog.
I'll be a therapist.
Love that.
And so,
boy.
I mean, my goal is to create this position called Certified Peer Support Therapist.
Dog, that's dope.
Right? A therapist
like
with lived experience.
I like that.
And they're out there. You know, shout out to every therapist out there that has that lived experience and you're helping people.
Yeah.
I want to be that.
Absolutely.
You know, I embody that. I am that now.
Absolutely. You are exuding that energy right now. That's not a position. That's just who we
a lifestyle.
Who you are. Absolutely, dog. So right now you're with
Level Up IOP.
Level Up IOP. How did that come about?
I met this amazing woman named Portia Louder. You had her on your podcast.
Yeah, Portia. Great woman. Shout out to Portia, man. Her show's doing great.
Portia heard me on a podcast on the KSL Project Recovery podcast. Shout out to Casey Scott and everything that he does. And reached out to me. He said, hey, I need to know you. And we started hanging out. We started going to different places, speaking at youth centers.
Yep.
And then we got together with Utah Family Therapy. Shout out to Utah Family Therapy for everything that they do. And came up with this plan, like, let's create something that can fill a gap for people that are struggling with addiction.
Yep.
And that's how Level Up IOP was born.
Yep.
I was working at Papillon at the time, and then we started Level Up IOP, so I'm now pulling double shifts. And I remember I was in one of our staff meetings, and Tony Roten, he's one of the founders of Utah Family Therapy and Level Up IOP. He said, Manny, how much do you believe in yourself? And I said, I believe in myself more than I've ever believed in anything other than God. And he said, then take that leap of faith. And that next day I went to Papillon and gave my 2 weeks and let him know what I was doing, and walked into, building Level Up IOP and solely Level Up IOP at that time.
You guys built that from the ground up.
Ground up. We started with 3 individuals in our program, had 5 individuals after 2 weeks. And
so
I remember
initially it was a Zoom thing. Right?
Yeah, virtual.
Virtual. There we go.
So Level Up IOP, we're hybrid now. But it started out as virtual. So literally, we're putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to meeting people where they're at, and we are literally bringing treatment into the homes of people. And it doesn't matter what part of the state you live in, that we can meet you where you're at.
Yep.
And
you're offering therapy. You're offering one-on-ones,
therapy, peer support, recovery coaching
through virtual.
Yep, groups.
Love that.
We work directly with adult probation and parole to help people get off probation and parole. We work directly with Division of Child and Family Services to help people get their kids back. Both 2 organizations, 2 departments that have been big parts of my life.
Love that, dog.
My childhood.
Man, it's full circle, bro.
And I remember our CEO said, Manny, if you can keep 5 people in by December, we started in September. If you can keep in 2024, if you can keep 5 people in by December, we'll keep the lights on.
Yep.
I said, challenge accepted. I had been grinding in this community everywhere. I mean, I do recovery-based hip hop and rap. I've been performing at all the events. I'm everywhere. You can't miss me if you're in the recovery community out here.
Yep.
By December, we had 25 people in the program. We started with 1 group. Now we had 2 groups. I think 3 months later, we had 40 people. Absolutely. Right now, just a little over a year of being open, we have 78 people. I looked this morning
on rotation
in the program, all across the state,
helping them.
We're literally empowering people to be adults. You have the answers.
Absolutely, dog.
We're going to wrap around you and give you the support and hold you accountable when you're stepping out of line. But you have the answers. You want to be an adult? We'll give you that opportunity to be an adult.
Absolutely.
And people are rising to the occasion. Typical treatment says, let's take you out of your environment, let's reprogram you, then throw you back in that same environment where you failed over and over and over.
Yeah.
Our motto is, if you're going to be in that environment, then we want to empower you to be the change there.
Love that. Where you're at.
Right where you're at. For yourself, for your family, and for your community. Because if you can't benefit the community, then what's the use of you being out here?
Absolutely.
You need to find whatever it is for you that helps you empower those around you.
Your superpower. For sure. And I love the logic behind it, and also the groups. You had me do a group one time, bro, and I love
You're welcome to jump into any of those.
Absolutely, dog. I know those doors are always open. And bro, those groups are so enlightening on both ends. You know what I mean? And it feels great to be able to be in a position where, you have that experience. We have that life that we've lived through, and we pulled ourselves out of that darkness. And to be able to shed some light for our brothers and our sisters, man, is big. It's not work to me. It's
right.
not. You know what I mean?
Right.
We get paid to be ourselves and live our experience. You know what I mean?
And now some of these same people that I've been in those cells with, and even some of the ones that hurt me, reach out.
Asking for help.
And I extend that hand because...
Man.
And sometimes I'll be like, okay, I got a phone call from somebody who said, hey, one of the guys that jumped you, he's asking for your help.
Yeah.
I said, let me pray on it. I already knew the answer. I already knew what God was going to tell me. And then I messaged back and I was like, when he gets out, you have him hit me up. And I'll do whatever I can.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at now.
Man, I love that.
That's where we're at now. We're helping people. You know what I mean? Like, I get to go back into the prison now where I did so much time.
Love that.
And help the men and women and inspire them. I have weekly meetings with the halfway houses about people that are in our program or ways that we can help them reach people. Shout out to Deputy Warden now, Randy Carter, for everything she's doing in the department, and welcoming me into Fortitude so that I could help the men there. I was in Fortitude in that halfway house 6 times.
So much hurt.
Made it out successfully only 1 time.
Yeah.
And now I get to walk through there. They used to escort me through there, and now I just walk through there and just connect. Yep. And whether somebody joins our program or not, that doesn't matter. We're still going to give them the game.
We're going to plant
We're still going to give them the resources.
Absolutely.
And anybody that wants to know what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, I give the game away freely. I've seen so many people get out of prison and find some kind of success and hold it to their chest and run off with it. And I refuse to be like Smeagol or the guy in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like I refuse to be that guy with my success. Like if I got it, you got it. You know,
and that's the best way to flourish. That's the best way to flourish. That's the best way you level up.
Yeah.
Dog. You know what I mean? You don't level up bogarting
right.
the tools, bogarting the necessary lessons you learned. You know
right.
what I mean? And it's just like when I go into the group, bro. I was in there. I did a group the other day in the prison, and I talk about the 4 things I did in prison to get out and stay out.
Yes.
Straight up.
They
dog.
need to hear it. They need
Absolutely.
that. And so you know what my crowd is now? It's recovery, self-development, success. That's what it is.
And you stay around those kind of people.
I stay around
right?
them. You know, I want to give a big shout out to the Other Side Academy. That's my
shout out to Tosa.
That's my tribe, right? That's my people. When I'm struggling with something, I reach out to them. Those are individuals that are solid in their principle.
Absolutely.
And they stand on it.
This is just my personal experience from the ones I've met.
Yeah.
They do not falter from their movements, bro, which is how you're supposed to be. And I talk to guys at the ranch. I talk to guys in prison. I'm like, bro, when you stand on something, you can't jeopardize it for nobody.
Right.
Because it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about my loved ones.
Yeah.
It's about my lineage. It's about my kids. You know what I mean? I'm going to continue to keep this energy as far as doing the best to better myself and not just talk about it. I'm finna live it.
Right.
I'm gonna cut people off that they living according to how I want to live my life. I don't care who it is, whether it's blood, whether it's not. It don't matter. I don't have no problem. If a zombie bit me in the arm right now, I'm chopping that arm off. Period. You know what I mean? Man, dude. So shout out to Tosa.
Shout out to Tosa. Shout out to Clay. I call Clay almost every day.
Love that.
When I'm going through something. I just spoke with Dave DeRocher yesterday. I said, Dave, I'm dealing with this on the, in the recovery field and some of the shade that I get from some people. And he's like, kid,
it's hard.
If you're not getting shade, that means you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, basically that's what he told me. When people give you some feedback, take it. If there's something that you can take from it and apply, apply it.
If it don't apply, let it fly.
I'm grateful that I can reach out to individuals like that.
Absolutely.
And get that love.
Man, dog.
Yeah.
Great man.
So shout out to everybody over there. And then shout out to my team at Level Up IOP. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Brad, to Jenny, to Tony,
squad.
Portia, Misty, Melissa, Sherry, everybody on our team. Bev, Alex Bloomfield. Shout out to Alex Bloomfield.
Lucky.
This is what we do now.
And I love that, man.
We're changing, Level Up IOP stands for Level Up Intensive Outpatient, but we're changing the whole narrative of IOP.
I love that, dog.
It's now impacting our people.
That's
what it is. You'll see it on all the shirts now. It'll be on the sleeves and all that. We just got the hoodies in. If you guys want to come and tap in with Level Up IOP, feel free.
Yeah, let the people know. Let the people know where you can find Manny, man. First off, I just want to, bro, I appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, bro.
Everything you do, not just for myself and the position that you play and the energy that I get from you and this reciprocal energy we have, but for everybody, bro. For you being out there on the front lines, in the prisons. We're out there in the trenches, dog. In the trenches, my boy. So I just want to salute you, my dog.
Thank you.
But where if they want to find out a little bit more about Manny or Level Up, where could people just check you out?
My Facebook is Manny Misty Lopez. Any other platform, it's SL Manny Boy, like Salt Lake Manny Boy, Sober Life Manny Boy. It's SL Manny Boy. I make music. You can tap into the music. We've been dropping songs all year. They're
killing it.
They're on fire. But we collaborate with individuals from like Fit to Recover. Shout out to Fit to Recover and everything you guys are doing over there. That's what we do now. It's all about collaboration. It's what can we do to help lift you up and be the best version of you. Because when we do that, we become the best version of ourselves through that process.
Absolutely, man. I love that, my boy Manny. And just so you guys know, man, make sure you guys listen to this episode and just try to get the gems, man, of all the knowledge that we've acquired through our life, through our experience. Just because you suffered from addiction,
right?
Just because you suffered from incarceration, that doesn't make you less than. That's actually your superpower. This your boy Smacks with the K's No More podcast with my boy Manny, and we finna sign off. Make sure you like and subscribe, y'all.
Yeah,
Run it up.